So,
You're right
all
about that.
right, here we go. Episode number 5, Hot Tag Radio. Got James over here, Greg on
What's
this
going
side,
on?
something like that. Um, we have a lot to cover this week, but we'll get the pleasantries out of the way since that was effective before. If you like what you're hearing, hit the like and subscribe, and we're interactive. We'll respond. But like I said, a lot to go over this week. I want to jump right in and just get right on to what I think is probably the biggest news of the weekend, jam-packed weekend. Let's talk about the Seth Rollins injury. Um, because look, there's a healthy debate as to whether or not it's a shoot or if it's work. I think he's injured, man. I don't think you get to that ending in that match if he's not. But like, how clever would it be to have your Money in the Bank guy off TV for however long he needs to be, and then come back to instant cash in? That I mean, what a way to come back, right? So, what did you guys think? Where is this headed?
Yeah, I wasn't sure, work or shoot. I'm, most stuff I'm reading saying he truly did get injured. And I mean, I
Yeah,
would argue him leaving TV, as great as a moment as it would be for him to pop back up and cash in,
yeah,
leaving
doesn't make sense.
TV sort of screws over his faction, who was starting to catch a lot of steam. So I don't know what happens with the stable. I don't know what happens with the Money in the bank contract. Jay, what are you thinking, man? Like, where do we go from here?
I wish I knew. Cause yeah, when I was watching it live, at first I thought, okay, he's gonna, I don't know, it was a nice little work angle. And then once it suddenly ended, and then they had the cameras completely off of him, I don't know. That's where things kind of got real for me. I don't know. I feel like right now this is really gonna slow down things for Bronson Reed and for Braun Breaker. And I really feel bad for. I mean, obviously I feel bad for Seth, but I feel like Breaker had a nice run going by himself prior to joining this group, and I just feel like this sets him back further. So I don't know where you take it from here. Hopefully, it's not too serious of an injury. He can be back in a couple of months, and then maybe do the cash in. But it's hard to say right now. It's hard really to say until you know how bad the knee is.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it was interesting because they showed the replay like a million times, and I watched it, and they're like, "Oh, watch his knee buckle," and I didn't really see anything.
didn't see
No.
it.
But those are generally the ones that you're like, "Oh, nah, he's really messed up," and let's hope he's not out for long.
Yeah,
Because, like you said, I mean, they had just invested so much into the three of those guys as a group. Um, it would be a shame to see that kind of fall apart and those guys lose their momentum there.
yeah,
Um,
yep.
but now that begs the question: we have a vacancy, right? They were pushing Seth as that top heel guy. Who steps in there?
For the top heel.
I It might be someone from the faction just for that time being.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I mean, if it's going to be from that faction, it's Braun Breaker. I don't. I don't see. I don't know.
Oh, without a question.
Yeah, it's Breaker, and that's who you have to run with. I just don't know how they.
I know what you're getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, how they push it forward, but I don't know. I feel bad. I don't know. I just feel bad for the
But
group as a whole.
it's also interesting. Yeah, it's also interesting though that the main top person on that roster is a heel as well. So I don't know. Maybe it just sort of you know you just sort of stagnate. I don't want to say stagnate. Just sort of hover around. You know, there's always the everyone's friend Jey Uso hanging around out there, but at the end of the day, I don't know that um, they have to necessarily tackle the world title picture with Seth Rollins specifically until maybe a face gets the belt. But yeah, it's gonna be challenging all around for that group, I would say. But interestingly enough, we talk about the world title picture. Goldberg, Goldberg went out on his back.
Yeah,
He
tapping
went
that
out on his
mat,
back. He
man.
went, yeah, tapping out. Which has Goldberg ever tapped out? Do we know?
That'd be an interesting thing to look
I'm
up,
gonna
but
say
I'm gonna
no.
guess no, just
Yeah,
because of how protected he's been.
yeah, me too. I'm gonna go no as
Um,
well.
I mean, he's just way overprotected, but what a great ending. Can I just point out, man, crickets in that arena. Like when he came out, there was less than a negative pop. Like it was
Yeah.
absolutely nothing. Throughout the course of his career, you kind of heard the stories about the Goldberg chant being like canned in, but man, there was no reaction from anyone in that crowd last night, and it just kind of. I think a lot of people are glad that it's over. Um, you know,
Yeah.
and that
Well,
might be the
Carl,
understatement.
well, here's a question I have for you, Carl. Like,
Oh boy.
given his legacy, given all that he's done for the Monday Night Wars, for the business, I guess we'll say that as well. Uh,
Yeah.
and his age, should this match have even happened? And if the answer is no, then does it is it excused a little bit by the fact that it wasn't a pay-per-view and it was more Saturday night's main event?
Nah, well, so here's the thing about that too, because I have thought about that, and maybe it should have been a pay per view, but then it's got to have more build than like you make two in person appearances to try to build this thing up. I mean, this is your final match. I mean, even when Flair retired the first time at WrestleMania against Shawn, there was a lot of build up to that, and this was just like, yeah, he's basically gonna lose. Like, oh, but it's for the title. So what happens if you win? And it's like, oh, that's interesting. But they were like, this is his last match, you know.
Yeah, he's not.
No, there was no suspension of disbelief. We all knew like what was going to happen. I didn't know he was going to tap,
Yeah,
but you know, he didn't seem that invested. It was like, dude, you want a match where you don't even have to leave your hometown. And like he's like, I just want to like if you guys are in town, I'll swing by, take a pin, and that'll be my last match. And like that's what happened.
yeah.
That's exactly what happened. No fanfare whatsoever for that.
Were any of you thinking that there was going to be a Rollins cash in and a Goldberg win?
Uh,
Did anyone think that was going to happen, especially after the injury was sort of, wait, what happened here? Was anyone thinking Goldberg wins and then there's cash in?
so I'm gonna make this comment, and I want James's thoughts here. But there was some stuff circulating that was like there was something big that was supposed to happen at the end of the show that didn't. It like and like they kind of had to do the whole like Goldberg speech thing on the fly,
Oh,
and yeah. So I don't know if that might have been the cash in. James, what do you got, man?
So I didn't hear any of that. The only reason I didn't think about Goldberg winning or a cash in is because of the injury. Um, like once they weren't showing Seth after that match, I just assumed Seth was gone
Yep.
for the rest of the night. So I'm thankful that first off, if you're gonna have Gunther lose, sorry, Walter lose, um, I don't want it to be to Goldberg, and I don't want it to be to somebody who's gonna hold the title for 2 seconds, and then is gonna drop it to Seth. I don't know. I just don't like the way that would look. So,
Yeah, we'll pick up on that there. I think it's fair to say that no one wanted that to happen that way, and if they had to give Goldberg another title reign, like at the end, it would have been all for naught. A lot of people were talking about like whether or not like him tapping out was the right call. I think at this point it doesn't matter. Like his legacy is what his legacy is,
sure.
but there's going to be people like me, probably like you guys, that part of his legacy is going to be versus Taker in Saudi Arabia in what was one of the crazy botch filled matches of all time. So you know, last night was what it was. He gets his flowers or whatever.
Yeah.
Good,
Well,
good
I
on him.
will say, I will say, you know, the tap out part twofold. One, it was shocking because I don't think we have seen Goldberg tap before. But I will say that the last few matches that Walter has been in have been either tap out or pass out related victories or losses. So I feel like that's part of the aspect of his character. But I mean, this was to me, this feels akin to Kurt Angle making Hogan tap out to the ankle lock. It's kind of like, oh, whoa, whoa, oh, wow, okay, So I, the concept may have sort of put Walter over a little bit, but the match itself, maybe not so much. But you know, yeah. All right,
Yeah,
enough of that.
yeah. We spent too much time on that already. So we'll go on to the Logan Paul Jelly Roll stuff because this popped so hard online. Everyone seemed to have a comment on this, and I
Yeah,
mean I get it. You know, Jelly Roll, big celebrity. Logan Paul, big celebrity. Um, I don't see what the big deal was. If I'm being honest, I mean, WWE in particular has been doing this sort of meshing of mega stars and different avenues of entertainment
yeah.
since its inception.
the, since its
So,
inception. Yeah,
yeah,
WrestleMania had tons of Mr. T was in a match in WrestleMania one. Bam Bam
wow,
Bigelow and Lawrence Taylor main evented a WrestleMania, so it ain't
love it.
foreign to them.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like for a long time that's how they've generated a lot of heat and
Yeah,
gotten the word out, so to speak. A lot of people are arguing that wrestling wouldn't be as popular as it is without Cyndi Lauper, right?
that's also true.
Yeah, I mean that MTV generation, man.
TV crowd, yeah, that's right.
They, but like we've seen this. I just don't know why people are up in arms over like this one.
Yeah.
It just I don't know what's special about it.
I
That
can tell you
there's no
why
big
they're up
deal.
in arms, but I don't agree with it. They're up in arms, number one, because they don't like Logan Paul. And
Yeah.
in all honesty, I'm not a fan of Logan Paul in and of himself, but Logan Paul as a sports entertainer, I can separate my feelings about Logan Paul the person from his abilities in the ring. And he does what he needs to do in the ring. He is a draw, and he's going to be in there with Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. And in all honesty, I don't know what Jelly Roll is going to be able to do, quite frankly.
Hmm.
But if he takes it seriously and pulls off whatever moves they want him to pull off, whether he's going to choke slam somebody, I don't know what bumps he's going to take. But at the end of the day,
He took a boot to the face
he,
last night,
he
man.
did. And, but he, Claymore, I feel like the Claymore is one of those moves that you don't have to like you have to protect yourself, but you don't have to take a nasty like back bump or anything like that.
No.
So I, I think I think they will do what they need to do to make it work. And but I do think the hate is somewhat forced, and this is coming from again a person who's not a big fan of Logan Paul. But
Hmm.
personally, my hope is that people understand what this is, and it's what it always is, which is trying to get more eyes on the WWE product. It's nothing more than that.
Yeah, I well, and I think you're right. I don't know why this is coming as a surprise to people. It just this is what they do, and right now they have quite a few celebrities that really enjoy the product and are a reoccurring feature on it at this point. This is Jelly Roll's like fifth, sixth appearance, something like
Yeah,
that. Like
yeah,
it's he's there pretty frequently. So again, he's gotten involved before. I don't know why this is any different. People just making a big deal out of something
yeah,
that doesn't necessarily need to be made a big deal out of. Now, with that in mind, I mean, the Randy and Drew match. That's something that we can look forward to as a feud.
yeah,
I mean, you got two guys kind of. I know people are saying like, Drew needs to be, the one that comes out on top. But like, you know, Randy at this stage of his career, I get it, but he's coming off the loss at King of the Ring, um, where I mean he had the crowd support. That's all I'm saying. Um, like, what are our thoughts on who needs that win more?
I don't know that either one of them really
I'm about
need
to
to
say
win, to
neither one
be
of them
honest
really
with
need
you,
it.
because yeah, I'd be perfectly fine with both of them trading wins here. Like, have a feud, have 3 or 4 matches. I don't know that it matters who wins the blow off match as long as each of them get a win here or there. So
Mm.
that's my thought, Jay. What are you thinking?
I'm with you. I don't, trade a win. I don't think either one of them really needs it unless one of them is being set up for something post it, and you can kind of clearly see what it is. But uh, I don't know. Neither one of them, I would say, needs to win. I'll go with Drew just because, he's younger, got a little bit more career left in him. But outside of that, you know,
Yeah.
let him trade the wins. Just give us some good matches. We'll be fine.
A couple fewer back fusions and all that.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I could see that as probably being the right move. Maybe try to elevate him back into that title picture. I mean, him and Walter, I think at that point could potentially bring the house down.
Yeah. Potentially, yeah.
But
They could.
we'll have to see where that is. All right, so we're kind of breezing through some stuff here today, but that's okay because, like we talked about at the beginning, there's a lot to go over. Um, one thing that I do know that Jay wanted to touch on, but we'll bring it up and we'll get his comments on it when he returns. Um, Wyatt Six are the tag team champions, seemingly out of nowhere. Did they need this? Did the Street Profits need to keep the tag team titles? What was the thought process? If you're, I don't want you fantasy booking. I want you fantasy explaining this one. If you're the booker, what is your reasoning for putting the tag titles on a group that, by and large, has so much mystique that I don't think they necessarily needed the titles?
I'll give you an easy answer because the tag team division on SmackDown is booked to be chaos. That is how they are booking. And I'm not going to say whether it's right or wrong. I actually kind of like it. Number one, because it's the tag team division, and I don't feel like the tag team division gets enough love. But number two, I mean, you've got Andrade and Ray Phoenix that are a part of the tag division over there. But you've got them, you've got Fraxium, you've got the Garzas, you've got DIY, you got Motor City, you got Street Profits, and now you got Wyatt Six. And so I'm actually not too bent out of shape about them getting the titles, but I do think, if you're booking the way that I think they're booking, this is going to be more of a trade. I don't think the Y6 are going to hold the titles for that long. I think they might go back to DIY, or they might go to Andrade and Ray Phoenix. I think this is going to be maybe a little bit of a time of hot potato title switches, which I don't dislike, in all honesty, because it gives me the feeling of maybe anything can happen. But that's my fantasy explaining. We won't call it fantasy book.
No, well, and I guess you bring up a good point. If you are trying to generate interest, you have to give the idea that anything can happen at any given moment. And, just because you had two guys that were fairly early into their title run, um, that doesn't mean that they're locked in. Like
Right?
you win the titles, but then you have to keep them, right?
Yep.
And I think, especially with like some of the longer reigns, pun intended there, that we've had. We there does have to be some movement so people aren't getting stagnant. And if you can tune in any SmackDown and know that there's an opportunity that those titles might move,
Yep.
that that creates that interest. And
That's the key, man. That is the
we'll
key.
welcome Jay back here because we're on his topic, and I just had Greg kind of fantasy explain why the Wyatt Six are now the tag team champions. Kind of give them the reasoning, but I'd be interested to hear your counter argument, knowing that you haven't heard his. So, if you are fantasy explaining this, not booking this, um, what is your reasoning for putting the belts on the Wyatt Six?
Man, I couldn't give you one. That was kind of my thing. Like, I like them in the tag division. I like the way their characters kind of are. I couldn't explain to you why they need the titles. If they're in the title chase, I get it. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't know why they need the belts more so than like the opportunity. I think the opportunity is perfectly fine. I think they should be in a lot of these tag team title pictures. I don't think they actually need the titles other than if you're trying to give them some type of credibility for future matches. And then you can say, all right, well, they've already been the champions. They've, whatever that might be. Outside of that, I would have given the Street Profits a longer run, or I would have explored a different tag team. But I don't know if I would have put the straps on them right now.
So here's a
Uh,
follow up question for you, actually, on that, because the Wyatt Six is a group, but theoretically, the group is centered around Uncle Howdy. Do you feel like maybe they're not willing to give Uncle Howdy a title at this point, and probably not ready to give Nikki Cross another shot at one of the titles? Maybe she gets into the U.S. title picture at some point, but do you think that that's their way of trying to say this group is worthy, even though it's difficult maybe to put any titles on who you would classify as maybe the leader of the group?
I think that makes sense. Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't. Again, though, even with Uncle, it just feels different because, like with Bray Wyatt was Bray Wyatt. I can understand why Bray Wyatt would go after a title if he's going to be controlling everything. I still don't fully understand what Uncle Howdy is trying
Yeah,
to control. So that's kind of where
yeah,
my disconnect is as far as them needing a championship. And if you know what I mean, I don't know where
yeah.
they're trying to
They
go
need a
with it other
motive.
than it's just
Yeah, they need a
wrestling.
motive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I would like a motive from them. Besides, well, I know they had the, we're taking out the people who betrayed, and
the families
betrayed
that
us
made
and
sense.
made fun of us or what have you. Yeah, but I
yeah.
want some why do we want titles conversation. That would be a great promo for them to have. It would have been a great
Hmm.
promo for them to have, quite frankly, before they won the tag titles, to be honest with you.
Seriously,
But
Agreed.
like
Well, I mean, I guess there is something to be said about like the spirit of competition, but I don't think that that's necessarily the motto of the Wyatt Six,
sure.
right?
And if it is, they should at least say it.
right,
Yeah, I mean, like hell.
something.
But I mean, I don't mean this to be the knock that it's going to be, but I mean, Uncle Howdy is definitely Timu version Bray Wyatt, right? Like he's got like a fraction of the aura that Bray
Sure.
had,
Yeah.
and I mean, a lot of the promos, it feels like he's trying to be Bray, and it's just like down to the way that he's talking, and
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to take anything away from it, not by any means, but um, that's probably why they're not putting a title or putting Uncle Howdy in a title picture. But again, it's just got to make sense. So, I mean, if they can make it make sense, I'm here for it.
Sure.
I find those
Same.
guys entertaining. And Dexter, man, I think he's found himself in that group. Um, it's
Yeah.
one of the better versions of Dexter. But uh, outside of that, like why are they motivated to win the tag team titles, right?
Right. And
Exactly.
I'm curious for what Nikki Cross is going to do because Nikki Cross truly, I mean, this has basically always been her character, just in the, except for the Nikki ASH part. This has always kind of been her character, just dressed up in different forms.
Hmm.
When she was with Sanity, it's sort of the same thing. But like, they never really give her like the only time they gave her a chance to run with the belt, they decided to completely switch her character. And so I really want them to try and let her figure out who her character is and let her do that at a level where she's in the title picture. And they never seem to let her do that. So I'm curious if they're going to let her do that. But you
I
know,
would let her do that with
I
if you let
mean,
Alexa Bliss win, because at that point there's tie back to previous Wyatt storylines. I feel like, especially in the
that's true.
ring, stature wise, it fits to a T. Um,
Yeah,
but I think you could tell a really good story, Wyatt Six versus Alexa Bliss.
yep,
That's
yeah,
kind of where
you
I would
could.
go.
I that's a good run actually. I think from a storyline perspective that probably works the best. I think it's the best avenue for Nikki, who I agree with Greg. I don't think she's gotten the shine that she deserves. I think she got over a character and made it very believable.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Um, that was like out of her mind. And you know, hey, it is what it is. But I do think that there's boxes that WWE wants checked that
yeah,
maybe she doesn't, and you know, it is what it is.
yeah.
All right. Well,
I was going to
while
say,
we're here,
speaking of the women's division,
yeah, while we're here, let's do a little rapid fire. Let's call. We have the rundown for tomorrow or tonight. That's tonight.
tonight it is.
Jeez,
Yeah.
going based on when we put this together. All right. Let's keep it short. You can give a short reason for what you want here. I'll just throw up the match, and I want a quick prediction from each of you. All right. We're going to start with James, and we'll go with the big one. EO versus Rhea. What you got?
What I want is Rhea. I think they've made a big deal about her being like 0-3 or 0-4 against Io Sky. Which when you say it out loud, it just sounds like, just on paper, it just looks ridiculous. I feel like though they're going to go with Io Sky on that one, so I'm gonna say Io Sky's got that up.
Greg?
It should be EO, but they need to do something with their title reign. And that's been the issue for me. I'd be fine with either of them winning, but I think
Same.
EO needs to win and they need to do something with their title reign, to be honest.
Agreed. Okay, so I'll tee this one up by saying there again, not a ton of fanfare about this, and historically there has been. So this was a little bit weird. We got Trish versus Tiffany. Greg, we'll start with you this time.
That should be a bigger, I mean, that should be a huge match. It's basically, I would, it feels sort of like the passing of the torch, but it's much, not to call Trish Michael Jordan, far far from me trying to say something at that level, but it feels like every time a blonde, attractive blonde woman comes in, they try and compare her to Trish, like they compare every good dunker to Jordan. But I think it's a foregone conclusion. Tiffany wins the match. Trish knows how this is supposed to shake out, and so Tiffany will win, and she'll move on to Jade.
Okay, James, what do you got?
Fully agree. I think it'll be a good match. I think, to y'all's point, they did a horrible job with the build up. Everything, but this entire event feels rushed anyway.
Yeah,
Like they did
agreed.
not do them any justice whatsoever. But I just don't see any logical reason why Trish Stratus wins this match. So we're gonna go Tiffany.
All right. I'm just going to throw this in on this one. I think we're in agreement across the board here. But let's talk Naomi versus Jade. Uh, how does this one play out any different from WrestleMania? Uh, Jay, what you got?
I go Jade on this one because I still feel like Naomi's gonna get that last laugh because of that Money in the Bank briefcase. So I think Jade gets her win. I think that's a nice build and push towards SummerSlam. And I think Naomi's gonna get her last laugh at the end of it. So we're going to go Jade.
James or Greg, you got a different opinion here?
Nope, that's how that works, man. If you're the Money in the Bank, sometimes you got to take a lot of L's before you get that cash in. So I would love for Naomi to win, but realistically, I don't see anybody, anything other than Jade sort of dominating in the end.
All right, and And then I mean, that one's not terribly difficult to predict. I'm going to go back and watch this and see how close we were to calling this down the line
Oh,
here.
I got one for you though, Carl.
Uh,
We didn't put it on the sheet, but it is happening. Becky, Bailey, Lyra. Who comes out of that one?
ooh. So before I make a pick on this one, I'll put this down. They've put more effort into building that match than anything else. Like that
Yep.
match matters more than any other match on the card.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, they gave it a story. What a
Hmm.
Hmm.
concept, man! What a concept. Um, I I'm I'm thinking that Lyra probably comes out on this.
Okay.
Because they've kind of been teasing Bailey as like the heelish one there
Yeah.
for a little bit, and I think it's going to turn out to be Lyra. I think she may do something a little questionable to pull the win out, one way or the other. I think that one's actually going to be the best match of the evening.
Yeah.
But
Probably.
yeah, good pull.
Hmm.
But I do think it's going to be Lyra. I don't know if you guys agree. Um,
I'll go with you on that one.
James, what do we got?
I think we've kind of been of the same mind the entire time. So just to break that up, I'm just gonna pick Bailey, and give the Lyra
Okay,
and Bailey
okay.
some legs post evolution too.
Yeah, well, so that's the one thing I could see is that Bailey gets the title here, and then they carry that match into SummerSlam because I guess Becky is cast in something like some show or something or another.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
so I think she's going to be taking time off. I think Bailey could get it, and then they carry it into SummerSlam where it's a major pay per view, and then Lyra gets it there, one way or the other. The end game is going to be it's Lyra. Very quick pick on women's battle royal. This is probably going to be a random name for for me because I what else are we going to do? But I'll just throw Roxanne Perez out there. How about that?
That was who I was gonna
Damn
throw
it.
out there. That was who I was gonna throw. So I was gonna ask if we thought there were gonna be any surprises, and then also who was gonna win. I think Roxanne Perez probably needs to win because that's the main storyline that's happening right now on the shows in general. I don't know if there are gonna be any surprises. I don't think we're gonna see. I think we'll see more surprises in the crowd than we'll see in the match.
I agree.
I
I
agree
agree
too.
with that.
I
Um,
think Raquel needs a strong showing in this match. Like I need a Diesel
Agreed.
type of performance where she's getting at
oh
least
yeah,
domination.
five or 6 out in a row, something like that. So I need a
Yeah,
strong
I
like
mean,
I just who's bigger than her in this match, like size wise,
yeah.
other than like I don't know if I
can't
don't know
pick
if
Nia
anyone.
Jax maybe.
yeah.
Yeah,
So outside of
Nia
that one, I
Jax.
feel like
I
she
don't
should
know
be
if
I
she's bigger than
tossing
her.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I think James brought up a point a little while ago that she's wrestling too small, and she's got to start using the size. She's got to be dominant. I mean, she could be one of the better threats in that division, but
She should be,
um,
but she takes more
and,
bumps than Io Sky in her matches. It's
so
just
I can't
so I
ridiculous.
argue.
know that that's going to be a. I think that's going to be a future topic because I know there's a lot of conversation that we all want to have on that and the concept of big wrestlers and how they sell and should they sell.
Yeah, well,
Well, yes, they should.
yeah, we'll
Yeah,
get
we can
there.
get into that. Yes, but
We'll get
Yeah,
there. All right, so I do want to talk about something because I mean, for what the past 8 years or whatever it is that the three of us have collectively known each other. Um, since Adam Cole really burst on to the scene, and especially with his time in NXT, I've been a mark for Adam Cole. I really like that. At this point, have we seen the end of Adam Cole's career with all of the concussions? I mean, every turning point. He's hurt again. I thought this was one of the better TNT title runs, and the way that it has to end is because of another injury to Adam Cole. What are we thinking on Adam Cole's injury?
yeah. I don't know what the injury is. I mean, you could assume concussion if you want. I don't know. I haven't looked it up, to be honest with you, but we know that it is career threatening. We know he said he's going to be out for a while, but he sort of said his goodbyes just in case. Um, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Adam Cole, the person, uh, referred to as Chugs on his, online video game persona. I don't know the guy because I just don't know him. But in all of the things that I've seen, whether it's been on his Twitch stream or whether it's been as a part of Up Up Down Down when he was in WWE, he seems like the nicest dude ever. Like I don't know that anyone I hear says anything bad about him. And so, in all honesty, if he doesn't wrestle again, that would suck. But as long as he is healthy and can move forward in his life in a way that is, you know, uh, everything's all right and everything's good, I think that's what's most important. There's a lot I could say about how much I've enjoyed his career. If this is the last time we see him, and how much to your point of a mark I've been for him, but I just want the dude to be healthy.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Um, James, you want to sprinkle a
No.
little something on there?
Yeah. No. Like I said, like you, I was introduced to him in NXT, and I've been a mark since. And it just sucks, like to see what he's going through as far as injuries. Um, I think we all can agree. Like most importantly, we just want him to get better and be healthy. Like I would love to see him back, mostly as a manager role. So just talking, because I feel like he could elevate any talent you put him with. But just because I don't want to see him injured again, I don't want to see him in the ring again. I do, but I don't want to see him in the ring again. I just
No,
I don't know. I'm afraid of what
I
the
think that's
next
fair.
one might be. You know what I mean? And I don't want to see what that is.
Yeah, 100%. And I know probably off air we're going to spend a lot more time on that topic. But let's talk about the fallout from that. So now we have a TNT title vacancy that they uh, put together a fatal four way with your new TNT champion, Dustin Rhodes. Um, Greg, you're sort of our AEW resident expert, so I want to hit you with this. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, again, I do weird comparisons, so don't in any way, shape, or form think this is the true comparison. But like, sometimes you don't get the award for the thing that you do well. Sometimes you get the award for the things that you have done over the course of your career.
Yeah,
There are a lot of
lifetime achievement,
actors.
man.
Yep, there are a lot of actors who didn't win for the role that they did the best in, but won for a role that they probably weren't the best in because of all the other things that they've done. And I do think this is a little bit of a lifetime achievement award for Dustin Rhodes. I think he does a ton for AEW backstage and
Oh,
mentoring. He mentors the women's division. He is a phenomenal ambassador and backstage person for that organization. That being said, he's already got the Ring of Honor tag team championships. And I think he's got another belt too on top of that. And I don't remember which one it is, but I think this is his third title. Honestly, I don't expect this to be a long run. I don't expect him to hold this belt and, take on all comers for the next 6 months to a year. I am hopeful. I am a big Kyle Fletcher fan. I am hopeful that this is a way to set up Kyle Fletcher as the TNT champion because I think the future is bright for him. I would maybe for a month or so like to see him and Sammy Guevara get a sort of a weird like, hey, I wanted that title, yeah, but I want it. Sort of will they, won't they? But I think the future of TNT title division is Kyle Fletcher, and so that's what I'm waiting for. Um, but yeah, this was a bit odd. I think it came a little bit out of nowhere, mainly because lifetime achievement and because it was in Texas. So that's my thoughts on
so
that.
Mm.
I mean, just to go on that, I think if he could have competed, the plan was probably to have Cole win, and I think that might be
Probably.
why uh, Dustin got it, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't get something lifetime achievement wise, but and to your point, I think the division it has a very bright future. I don't know that that moved the needle for me, other than like, oh, that was a cool moment. But a moment's defined as 90 seconds, and that's about how long I cared about that. So we'll move on to more talking points. I'm going to skip ahead and then we'll come back here. Let's talk about how the women's division is still timeless. Uh, did we get a chance to see that match? Did everyone get to see that match?
I
Yep.
wish, but
That's
no, not yet.
Oh my god! Um, they
we
put
talked about
on
this in
a
the
show.
we talked about this in another pod, whether or
It
not
was
that
two or
match was going to
three.
live up.
Mm-hmm.
Was
It was
Yeah,
it?
we
two
did
or
talk
Okay.
about it.
three.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah.
And I think it was maybe one of us was having like really bad camera issues. I can't remember. But yeah, we talked about that and whether or not it was going to live up to it. I'm going to tell you, in my very humble opinion, it 1,000,000% lived up to it. They put on a show.
Yep.
They had you question at several different times if Mercedes was going to pull it off,
Hmm.
and I think that's what we were all looking for. There was an emotional investment into that match.
Yep.
Um, Again, with Greg being the resident expert, um, I just want a quick breakdown on what you thought of this match and where Tony goes from here, and where, for that matter, where does Mercedes go?
Yeah. Well, I'll take it from the end and go and work backwards. Mercedes will be fine. She's
Oh
still
yeah,
got like 97 other belts.
uh,
So, but I do think the time is coming very, very soon where that TBS championship is going to go around someone else's waist. I think Mercedes Monet's run here was sort of planned out. She's going to do what people expect her to do because of who she is. She's going to run through, the division, but not the top folks. She's going to build her way to the top folks. And now I think she's going to have a little bit of hard times. I think she's going to have a little bit of a challenge. But from a character perspective, she'll always be fine.
yeah,
She will always be a draw. They'll always, love
always
her.
CEO man.
Always CEO. For Tony Storm, what's next for her is the feud that I have been waiting for a long time. Tony Storm versus Athena. And if you haven't watched
Hmm.
Ring of Honor or seen Athena's work on the mic and how she just runs down people, I am very curious about the promos that will happen between Tony Storm and Athena because Tony Storm has her own way of doing promos. Athena has her own way of doing promos. They don't necessarily match up in and of themselves, but I think it's going to make for some extremely, extremely great promos. Hopefully, they don't rush this one. I don't want them to rush this one. I want them to
No.
let this one play out for a little bit, but that's going to be, I think that's going to be a really, really good feud for sure.
Well, I mean, I'll make a statement here. If they let it play out the same way that they gave time to Tony and Mercedes, I think that they've proven that formula works. Give them time, let people get emotionally invested, and then especially like you said, with both of them being as hot as they are on the mic, um, hey man, like give me another barn burner because that was a full blown classic. Like
Yeah,
I'd rank that up there in Mercedes. I don't know, top 10 matches because I mean she was putting them together like they were nothing when she was in NXT.
for
So,
sure.
True.
but I would rank that one up there. That was an absolute classic. Um,
But not to be outdone, when in the Owen Hart, Mercedes and Athena put on a phenomenal match. And so, centering the division around those three in some way, shape, or form, and I mean, you still got the Chris Statlanders of the world out there, and the
yeah,
Willows out there, and you still got a ton of other people. Thunder Rosa's still out there, Megan Bain's still out there. There's a lot of up and comers like Queen Aminata and Thekla, but it's centering things around Tony Storm, Mercedes Moné, and Athena. That I'm all right with that. That will not hurt my feelings.
I mean, those three are aura farming at this point, and everyone else is just kind of like chilling.
That's right.
All right. There was something that was a little bit bigger than what those ladies put together. We had a culmination of, again, Hangman getting another title. Um, the payoff was the match itself, right?
Yeah.
They, wow, man, they put together a fantastic performance. And um, again, James, I know you probably saw clips, right? I know we saw clips.
I saw
Did
some
we
clips.
see any of it? Okay.
Not the entire match. I saw some
Um,
clips like American Dragon and Darby
Darby.
um,
Yeah.
yeah.
showing up.
So, I mean, Greg, I want 2 minute breakdown.
Yeah.
Let's break down this classic, an
Make me
all out
buy this pay
classic,
per
in
view,
two
Greg.
minutes. Yeah, put on that
Make me
sales hat.
spend money.
Well, not only that. So once I'm done with my 2 minutes, I'm gonna hot tag UJ for where we think this goes, and I'll set you up a little bit and give you some context. But
All right.
yeah, the match was look. Some people I've seen some people say the match was slightly overbooked in the way that Cody versus Roman was overbooked, with a lot of people showing up and a lot of this person and that person. Hey, here's Brian. Brian Danielson. Oh, here's Darby Allin. Oh, here's Swerve Strickland. Yeah, but the match, if you like blood and guts and you like hardcore matches, it was brutal. It was brutal. But again, the big payoff was some of the returns, but the emotional payoff, like Hangman Adam Page has done some phenomenal emotional work. The emotional journey between him and Swerve and the emotional payoff of Swerve coming down and knocking out everybody with the chain and then putting the chain in the ring saying, do what you got to do and end the story. I think was great. It was a really, really good match. But what I'm curious about, Jay, so MJF won the Casino Gauntlet, as we talked about in another
Mm,
episode. We talked about what happens if Hangman wins. MJF is now technically next in the queue. But you still have the remaining Death Riders still exist.
hmm
Um, are we going directly to MJF, or are we gonna go back for a little bit of Death Riders action and save MJF maybe for a little ways down the road? Where do we think we're going here?
Hang on. Let me ask a question before I start predicting. So
Go for it.
the Hurt Syndicate,
Yep.
where is their attention currently right now? Because
Still in
that
the tag team division.
okay.
Still, still in the tag. They won their match. They beat Jet Speed and Nick Wayne and Christian Cage, which I want to talk about in a second because something happened there too. So Hurt
Yeah,
Syndicate is
definitely got to cope
still,
with that.
you got
Gotta
to cope
cope
with
with
that.
that.
Uh, Hurt Syndicate's still in the tag team division, but everything seems hunky dory still right now with the Hurt Syndicate and MJF. MVP is really sort of hyping up MJF, so I think they're hunky dory right now.
Okay, so it's all good feels on that side. I think you go with the MJF route to kind of give a little bit of a break from the Death Riders, kind of like position in that spot. Especially with the way you guys have
Sure.
kind of painted how the main event went, as far as this Avengers, everybody coming down and beating the crap out of Mox so Hangman can win. Um, but I'm having a hard time saying MJF pulls it out. I'm just saying that I
He
do
can't.
think
Like he can't. Yeah, he can't win
that's what I'm
that. I
saying. It's
like
just
he can't.
I I, I think you go that route. I just don't know how. Because, like I said, for me, I'm a mark, so I want my guys to win, and I want MJF to win. However, I just don't logically see, based off how this was presented, how that can progress forward that way. And because I
Yeah,
can't, I don't want to waste it though.
I don't.
I
Yeah, I don't
just
think it can. I agree. And therein lies the struggle, right? I think you could book a great MJF Hurt Syndicate setup where Adam Page quasi has, you know, um, Swerve and Osprey sort of kind of have his back. I think Danielson is gone again and off to
Yeah.
do his own thing. I think Darby Allin is getting ready to have a feud with the Death Riders, and we might see like Brody King back him up in a weird twist there. But I could see an easy setup for Hangman versus MJF, but I don't think you can have MJF win that. And if he doesn't, then
What's the point?
is the
This
story that like, yeah, that now he's feuding with the Hurt Syndicate? Like, I don't know where this goes.
I don't know. I guess if
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe if he got screwed, MJF meaning got screwed, and didn't get the help from the Hurt Syndicate, that could be the internal beef that would carry that storyline.
Yeah.
But again, I'm grasping at straws here for that one. So again, for me, it feels like a waste if he's going to be in this kind of spot and he's not
Yep.
going to
And
pull
then
through.
lose.
I'd much rather see Hangman Page get screwed over.
Yeah, I know, but then you tarnish the big victory at All In. Yeah.
But the big
Well,
victory was to get it out of the Death Rider's hands, and that was accomplished.
I
At this point, it
guess.
doesn't really matter who else has it. Yeah,
But yeah, such a feel good story to have him lose the next pay per view.
okay, but is the feel good moment Mox not having it, or is it Hangman getting it?
It's both. It was full on both. Like it was full on both. I think the long and short of it is I think people would have been happy with many people if they had beaten Moxley, but the build up,
It
like
was a great build.
Hangman Page did some emotional work, and him and Swerve and Osprey to a certain extent trying to mend fences and Christopher Daniels trying to get Page to be the man he's supposed to be. There was so much that went into that, so it was big for him to win, and so I don't know, man. Where do we
I
go?
don't know.
I mean, I'll tell you the interesting take that I have on this here, and then we'll kind of keep things moving.
Yep.
We just laid out everything that we thought was going to happen with WWE because there's options to go. With AEW, you don't know. Like we just sat here and broke down whatever option that they have or where we think they can go, and there's no clear cut answer. And maybe that's an asset for AEW, right? Because
Yeah.
we
I agree.
I,
we broke down. I think we just called every match on a PLE tonight, right? Um, and we're talking about one division in AEW, and we have no idea what direction they're going to go. Now, I will say this: I do think Hangman historically has been a lot better in the chase.
yes,
Um,
I agree.
so we'll see how this title reign goes. His last one was not that memorable for me. Um, all of the buildup felt very similar. This one obviously had its own moments and things like that. But if you look at it, it's like this long buildup. Get Hangman to the point, let him have the emotional win. Where do we go from here? And not just in terms of whether or not it's going to be MJF or it's going to be a rematch or Swerve gets involved, whatever it is. Where do we go to keep the heat there? Because I
Yeah,
think people lost interest so fast last time, and
they
we just
did.
we just need to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, a champion is only as good as his challenger, so they got to set up some stuff
Yeah,
for him. But real quick, I want to. So the next one, I want to actually jump, so that I can give Carl a chance because I have a question for him on this one. And so
okay,
if you'll indulge me, I'll introduce this one because I want to
yeah,
give you a chance to chime in on this one,
I'm
right?
all in. Let's go.
So we talked about the Hurt Syndicate retaining the tag titles. So the patriarchy after that somewhat exploded. Nick Wayne turned on Christian Cage, and then him and Kip Sabian and FTR basically attacked Christian Cage, which led to Adam Copeland returning in true Jeff Hardy fashion. He had to do
Oh my
all of his
God,
intro pyro and dancing and
We got to
running
talk
left
about
and
that
he
right
also.
and getting
he
getting everyone
he
involved before
ran
he
to the left
finally
side
came
of the
down.
stage.
I'm gonna make a
Before
save.
he Yeah, hold on. I'll get to you in a second. Let me just do this intro real quick. Is the
Dude,
pyro going off?
I don't know what is going on. Okay, so before I go off on that, what is the direct question?
So yeah, I know, right? So here's what I'd like to know. Obviously, Adam Copeland, told Christian to go find himself, which was a nice callback.
Yeah.
So obviously, we're getting an Edge and Christian reunion, Adam Copeland and Christian reunion. They're probably gonna fight the patriarchy. They're definitely gonna fight FTR. How excited? You talk about moving the needle. Does this move the needle for you? Does a an Adam Copeland, Christian Cage reunion and potential tag run, does that move the needle for you?
Um, I'll bury the lead here. No.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. We talked about a lot of like stars, right? I think Christian's done some incredible work in AEW, as has Cope or Edge or Adam or whatever we're going to call him. Um, do I need it? No. I mean, this would be like a cool thing if you had some reigning champs that we're talking smack about like how they were one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and then like,
Sure.
oh, here come Edge and Christian, and like that creates some juice there. Having this setup where it's like, no, this is a fixture. You got two guys that literally been around forever. I mean, both of these guys were in the Attitude Era, and they're still going. And that's not to say that they haven't done good work. I get that. Does it move the needle? Where again, Christian is about to get the concerto, which I mean, I almost felt like that was signaling for it. Um, Edge's music hits. He breaks out on the stage, and then instead of running to the ring to save his friend, he goes to left stage and is like getting a reaction from the crowd, and like he's getting pumped up. And in the meantime, you got four guys standing in the ring that are
Take
like,
him out. Just
yeah,
take him
like,
out.
oh my God, someone's music hit, and like it's like, dude, in the meantime, I would have delivered the concerto.
And they've
Like,
gotten out of the ring.
yeah,
Yep.
like, and by the way, there's four of us, there's one of you. Like,
Yeah.
he,
Well, that's a standard wrestling
yeah.
trope, though.
I mean, I get that, but man, it was like you have that on top of the fact that like I don't even need to run down there to save my lifelong friend.
Right.
I'm gonna take my time, and like it was the very Jeff Hardy thing. They just gotta get these run-in saves
Yeah.
better because it just doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
Stop
That made me
pandering to the
hate.
crowd.
Well, why do they do? Because
I mean,
Penta did that last month at whatever the Saudi Arabia show
yes,
was, where he was just walking down there and
yeah.
he did the Penta walk. And I just, if you're gonna do a run in
He
He's
did.
save,
like,
That's right.
oh,
I forgot. He did do that.
like run
in
Stop
down
trying to
this.
get your stuff in, guys.
those situations, and they are very like pointed situations. Maybe just don't worry about getting over, because what gets you over is making the save.
Yeah,
It's
make
not
the save.
pandering.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no, it's just I think for me, the culmination of that, it's cool. You're probably going to get Edge and Christian reunited, but generally speaking, all that's good for me is about 5 seconds of flash photography.
Well,
So
here's well played. Here's a follow
Very nice.
up. Obviously, Adam Copeland is good friends with FTR,
yep.
and I'm assuming that this was a dream match of all four of theirs that they
Yeah.
wanted to do. Normally you're picking the time to do it because somebody's leaving. I don't think FTR is around for another 3 years, so it might be them. But do you think maybe this signifies the end of Adam Copeland's career, FDR's career, or maybe even Christian Cage's career? Because quite frankly, you're doing this at a time where Christian Cage's character and his patriarchal character was phenomenal. You're going to
Oh
kind of
my
undo
God.
some of that. You're going to undo
Yeah.
some of that. So is it because do we think three or two of the people that are part of this feud coming up are getting ready to retire in the next year or two?
I I could see long term storytelling that this is a retirement match, like retirement tag match. Because when do those happen? right?
Right.
And I mean, when you think about, Cope and Christian, they're both, I think, a little bit closer to it. I mean, FTR maybe, but I
I
think,
think they said they've only got like a year or two left. I think they said they signed their final contract with AEW like a year ago or something like that.
yeah. But it would be kind of a cool moment if you had a dual retirement, like a retirement tag match, and you get to retire with your best friend, like in the
Yeah,
ring. And
Mhm.
I
yeah,
mean, that would be a moment for AEW. And you know, I don't know where that's going to go, but I could see it going in that direction.
yeah. Real quick, because I know we're almost out of time, and I know we had a little thing on here about Ring of Honor. I'm not going to go into that heavy, but if you get a chance, people watch Ring of Honor. A lot of great stars in the making coming up. I'm not going to call everybody out. One of these days, I'm going to have a segment on here about Ring of Honor because they got a lot of really good people. Um, so I
On
know
a week
we're
where
running
there's
out
not
of
so much
time.
news, right? Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, exactly. I know we were almost
Um,
out of time, so I want to throw that in there.
So on that note, there's the last little bit that I wanted to get everyone's very quick opinion on. We got a very big three-way match coming up at Slammiversary for the TNA Championship. I just want to get quick picks, and then we'll see where it goes. But all the segments have been very good. So we got Santana, Hendry, and Trick. Who's walking out with that TNA Championship? Greg, what you got, man?
I think it has to be Hendry. I don't know that TNA feels just yet that Santana's ready to carry the company. I don't know that I necessarily feel as of yet that Mike Santana's ready to carry the company. He will be. He absolutely
Oh yeah.
will be. But I feel like to get your investment, TNA, I think Hendry has to pin Trick Williams. I don't know if that's what's going to happen because I don't know if WWE is going to let one of them pin Trick Williams. I think the more likely scenario is Hendry pins Santana, but I think Hendry wins that one.
James.
I think if you say his name, him and a championship shall appear. So I got to go with my man Joe. And honestly, I think it needs to be over Trick. Um, Especially like to me, it's a sign of good faith. Like you already allowed this title to go across to the other brand. He clearly pinned one of your guys for the belt. Like, you know what I mean? We it's time to make good on your end of the deal, WWE. So Trick's getting taking
This
the
will be a
fall.
telltale. This will be a telltale sign of how this relationship is treated. Who eats the pin, and who gets the win.
Hmm.
So I'll give this and then we'll wrap it up for today. I think Hendry is going to take it, but I think it's going to be like a stolen moment from Santana. I think Santana is going to look like he's got the match wrapped up and Hendry like tosses him out of the ring, something like that. Gets
And
the
gets the
gets the
pin.
dub.
Yeah. Santana
I
does
think
the
it,
work. Henry gets the pin. Okay,
yeah,
I'm
because
on.
then
I'm over with
it's
that.
going to justify that Santana Hendry matchup for later. And like you said, maybe Santana's not ready right now, but he very much will be. Like we can all see it.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a
and so,
TNA type of guy. He's definitely like
oh,
he is in that lineage of TNA type champions that they like. He fits right in there, man.
oh, he definitely does. I do think it's going to be a great match. I do agree with James. I think Trick takes the pin here.
Oh, okay.
What one way or the other. I, I like I said, I think it's going to be a close ending. It's going to be building towards a Santana win, and someone's going to say his name, man. He's going to appear. Um, I mean, and to that point, Joe deserves it. All the flowers, man. Like he did a great job carrying that title. Had the TNA Championship come out at the Rumble, come out at Mania. Um, he's such a flag bearer for TNA. I can't see them taking the title off Trick, which that also needs to happen, right? Like he had it for longer than what I would have assumed, but
Seriously.
um, yeah, I mean that's yeah, we'll see how this relationship is going with them, and we'll have something to talk about next Sunday. Um, that is going to wrap it up for today. I know there's probably stuff that we missed in this crazy week of
Yep.
wrestling news and updates and everything else. I will get time eventually. But yeah, I mean, boys,
Do all the social
anything,
media stuff, people. Do all the social
all,
media stuff. Hit
I
us up.
mean,
Talk
yeah,
to us. We want to talk wrestling.
at Hot
We're
Tag
I feel
active.
Radio.
like arguing with
That's
somebody,
right.
so argue with me.
Yeah.
I
Whatever
Maybe
your
feel
give us
like
a
being
position is, I
nice
don't
to
promo.
even care if I
people.
agree with it. I just want to argue with you.
I feel like being nice to people, but I'll let Jay argue with any of you. Whatever position you take, Jay will take the
Yeah,
opposite
listen,
position.
yeah. If I agree
I'll
with
tell
you,
you
you're
what,
still wrong.
if you post the promo, Jay will cut one back. How about that?
Let's
How
do it.
about that? Yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah, like and follow on the YouTube. We're on Instagram, TikTok, X, Hot Tag Radio for just about everything. Look for our faces, I think. All right. We will see y'all next week, and that's a wrap.